Hi, and welcome to Digital Accessibility. In case you don't know me, my name's Amy McKaig, and I'm the Digital Content Coordinator for the Township. So I help the Township with their social media, some digital newsletters, the mobile app, and the website. I personally don't have a disability other than needing readers, but I have researched this topic for the last year in hopes to improve accessibility of the township's communications and in anticipation of a deadline. Let's see. So according to the CDC, over 28% of adult Americans have some form of disability. Personally, I thought that sounded very high the first time I heard that, and I think that is because I was only thinking about the disabilities that I could see. But in fact, there's a lot of people with disabilities that you cannot see. Some examples are colorblindness, dyslexia, epilepsy. There's a lot of different reasons that people might have a disability that you can't notice. On top of that, people sometimes have temporary disabilities, whether that's because of an injury or surgery or just a bad day like a migraine or something like that. And then there are situational disabilities, if you want to call them that, based on your environment or for safety reasons, or now that technology is so popular, it's on the go. Everybody takes technology with them. So think about your building inspectors who might be out in the field and they're having to look up a form or look up the website, and they might be doing that in bright sunlight or in rain or snow or whatever. And people nowadays with technology in their cars, we want people to be safe, but they're using technology on the go. They're texting people, they're communicating, they're looking at maps. So all of these things require a level of technology to help them with that. And then people working from home is more popular, or just multitasking, the use of laptops and tablets and things like that. So to overcome a lot of these disabilities or situational things, people turn to assistive technology, and those are different types of software and hardware that you can use in order to overcome those. A popular one is UserWay, and this is something we have on our website at the Township. A lot of websites actually have this, and it's just a little widget, and when you tap on the widget, it opens up that pop-up menu, and it provides the user with a variety of options to help modify their screen. So whether that's for dyslexia or color blindness, or they just need enlarged text, or to maybe stop the motion, things like that. So it's a helpful tool. There are other tools for people who don't have the use of their hands or can't use a mouse. For people who can't hear, there are transcripts, and then there's on-screen captions. But this is also useful for people who just want to, maybe they're in a loud environment and they need to read it, or they want to be discreet and they don't want to play a video out loud. So all of these tools are becoming more popular for everyday use by everyone. These keyboard shortcuts, I think everybody's probably used those, and that actually was, I think, born out of people not being able to use a mouse. And ergonomic keyboards, same thing. And then even on your smartphones now, in your settings, there's a setting for, you can click on that and it opens up a menu for assistive technology, depending on, and you can set those for your needs. And then just the using of talk to text or transcribing with your cell phones. So accessibility is not new. In fact, the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law in 1990 by President Bush, but digital accessibility is more new because of the growth of digital tools and technology. So Now there exists Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, as it's pronounced for short. And the definition of that, it just means that websites, tools, technologies are designed and developed so that people with disabilities can use them. So obvious reasons for this would be anti-discrimination, building trust with your community, but as this is growing, there's platforms, all the platforms, YouTube and Google and Facebook now, Instagram, they all have tools built in for you to start using, and the more you use them, the higher your content's going to rank. So it benefits you to use them, and then there's the risk of legal actions and fines, which we'll get into, as that is kind of coming. So in 2018, the federal government adopted digital accessibility, and they made their websites and buildings and all that accessible. And more recently, 2023, they kind of rolled it out and said, now states and local governments, you have to do the same. So they provided 2 dates, and next April 2026, is when any community that's over 50,000 in population needs to comply. We fall into the lower category here in Bloomfield Township, so we have an extra year. We have to comply by April of 2027. So there's a lot of common misconceptions, I think, with this. The first one is that these guidelines only apply to websites. In fact, they apply to everything digital, newsletters that get sent out digitally, mobile apps, Facebook posts, all of that. And it even goes further into a third party. So if you use a vendor for some of those things, you have to make sure that they're also complying. The website host company will handle it. We have a website company. We pay maintenance fees for that. So it would be reasonable to assume, well, they're handling the accessibility. And the truth is, they are, to some extent. They have built-in tools into the back end, but it's up to the person putting the content on the website to use the tools consistently, properly, and make sure all your content is compatible or compliant. That user way widget I talked about, so that's a very good tool. It does a lot of things. It does not do everything. So that's one issue with the tool. Also, it's only going to be as good as the content you're putting on. So it has to be compatible with what you're putting on. So if it's trying to read something, you have to make sure you've entered stuff on the back end. So it's not the only, it's not the finish line. Our deadline is a long way off. That is true, but we're a government website, and we like transparency, and we put everything out there. And we figure, well, people can FOIA it, we might as well put it on the website. And so there's just a lot of information there. So it's going to take time to decide, does everything need to be there? Should some things get archived? We need to maybe fix some old things. We need to, going forward, learn how to make things easier and compatible for the technology. And this is going to take training, it's going to take time, and all that. And then lastly, our website manager will handle this. That's me. I can tell you I can't handle it alone. I get, I think on average, about 10 website requests a week. And this is, mind you, just website, it's not social media. And those aren't like change this date or change this word. Those are like update this PDF or this file. And so if I had to take an hour for each of those to go through, do an accessibility checker, fix some things, that would be 10 hours out of my 40-hour week. So it's just not reasonable. So we're going to have to share it around and all kind of help with this. So I talked a lot about content, and I want you to see the types of content that I'm talking about. We're talking about everything from forms, job descriptions, annual reports, legal notices, payroll, maps, photos, videos, flyers, brochures, all of that. So what I did is, this is a video of a screen reader in action. I took it to one of our web pages, and we're just going to listen to it kind of, and I want you to pay attention to how it tries to organize the information. It will call out images, hyperlinks, headings, that kind of thing. It's about 3 minutes long, and then it will go into a flyer. We'll open up a flyer, and you'll see how rough that is.
Heading Level 2 2025 Annual Recycling at Level 2, Events. Page Content Region, keep hazardous items out of landfills, storm drains, and sewage treatment plants by disposing of them at one of our annual recycling events held on the township campus. Convenient drop-off service and no charge. Open to township residents with valid ID, table with 2 rows, 4 columns. Row. Electronic Waste Day, Saturday, May 3rd, column 2 of 4, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., old electronics, unused or expired medications, and paper shredding, row. Household Hazardous Waste Day, Saturday, October 4th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., household chemicals such as liquid cleaners, motor oil, pool chemicals, etc., column 4 of 4, exit table, recycle bin, graphic. Priority Waste provides each homeowner with an 18-gallon blue plastic bin or a 65-gallon cart for the purpose. To request a bin or cart, call Priority Waste at 855-927-8365. Residents often have questions about what materials can be recycled, and why other materials cannot. Link, Recycling Flyer. Provides detailed information. Heading Level 2, Recycling Plastic Bags at Level 2. Provides, link, Recycling Flyer, loading complete, Recycling Flyer 2025630.pdf.
So it does cut off in the little, on the left, I'm sorry about that, but just watch as it sort of bounces all over the place.
PDF document load has completed. PDF bar toolbar, contents, PDF document containing 1 page. All material should be placed loose in the recycling cart. Some communities' rules and guidelines may vary. All materials should be bagged properly. Unlabeled graphic, paper products, unlabeled graphic, metal, unlabeled graphic, glass, unlabeled graphic, unlabeled plastic, unlabeled consumer, unlabeled graphic, unlabeled graphic, packaging, electronics or e-waste.
You see there how it read packaging, so it's not even picking up the text in the same text box, and it's bouncing all over, so you get the idea. I'm gonna see if I can.
Newspaper, office paper, heading Level 2 2025.
Okay, so these are the key elements that I've identified as things that we need to do in order to make the content more accessible, more readable, more user-friendly for anyone using screen readers or other technology. And I'm going to go through each one very, very briefly. So let's see. First one is alternative text or alt text. Now you heard in the video it said unlabeled graphic a million times. So what that is alt text. Somebody didn't put in what the graphic is. And so all alt text is a very simple label to describe what is in this photo. And it's a little different than a caption. Like if you're reading a magazine or a newspaper, it has captions. Those assume you can see the picture. So alt text is a lot more literal than that. So a line of people waiting to order from the Great Greek food truck is sufficient. Some tips is you don't have to say image of when you're writing your alt text. The screen reader announces it's a graphic or an image. You want to be brief. You want to avoid descriptions that rely on color. So like if you're putting up a map, you don't want to say a construction map or something. You wouldn't want to say parking is only available in the blue area of the map because they can't see the map. Be quantitative when it matters. So in my alt text with the food truck, I didn't say how many people were in line or how many women or men. You could say that, but you would only want to say that if it meant something to your story, like there was low turnout. So that's it. Keep punctuation simple and acronyms and links. So if you put in a link, it's going to read HTTPS :www. So, and the same with emojis. It's going to try to describe the emojis. It's a laughing face, or something. So it's not necessarily bad to use those, but know that going forward, what you're putting in. And then if it's truly decorative, like the flowers on my screen, you can just mark them as decorative or artifact. Helpful link text. Link texts are those things on the screen that, they're underlined and it takes you somewhere else. So the main point with this is don't hyperlink the words click here or read more. Those are very generic. They don't tell somebody where they're going to go, so they have to literally click there to find out, oh, I didn't really want that. And oftentimes you'll see a bunch on a page. And so just like you and I might scan a page to see what all's on it and just pick out what we want to know, someone with the screen reader is trying to do the same thing. So it's way better if you make them very descriptive. So you want to describe, where's this person going? Where's this link going to take them? And a good tip that I think is to check yourself is to go back and read your page out of context, just read the links. And if you can understand where you're going to go, then you've done a good job. And then color should not be your only link indicator. Oftentimes they're underlined in color or underlined in bold or something. I like to do two styles. And then because of that, you should avoid underlining text elsewhere if it's not a link, because people are so used to seeing underlined text as being a link. So here's just a side-by-side comparison. On the left, somebody just underlined the word here. So that's one style. The word here is not descriptive. We don't know really where we're going unless we read the whole sentence or paragraph. And the next one, we know exactly we're going to two places, the Franklin Show and the YouTube channel. And it's green and underlined. And then here's an example straight from our website. It's like a before and after. So I've been going through page by page and making updates as I see fit. And on the left-hand side, we actually had 4 instances on the same page of click here or here. And on the right, if you read those out of context, you see book your appointment, processing times, learn how to get your passport fast, and state of Michigan real ID. So you don't even have to read the whole page, and you can know, I'm not interested in those 3. Yes, that's where I want it to go, and you go. So next is good color contrast. Obviously, the column at the right is way easier to read because you have a good enough color contrast between the text and the background. Seems very simple, but I do see bad examples of this all the time. And so if you have brand guidelines, it's a good idea to follow those because chances are someone has figured out what colors work well together and put those out for you. But another great tool is called webaim.org. And if you go to that website, you can put in 2 colors, your text color and your background color, and it calculates a ratio for you, and it tells you if it passed or failed. And it gives you multiple pass-fails, and we're striving for McKaig AA. AAA is like over the top if you really want to do great, but AA is where we need to be. Heading hierarchy. So you might have remembered in the screen reader example where it said heading level 2. That helps the reader organize the information, so if they read heading level 2 and it's the title of that section isn't something you want, you can go down to the next one, until you get to the section that, oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. Tax payment information, I don't care about the other stuff. So it's very helpful, and the way that works is you have to, on the back end of the website, you don't just select like, oh, I want to make this bold and make it a color and make it big font. You select an actual style that's preset on your computer. And now a lot of different platforms have this. Word has it. Here's an example from Word. So on the left, if you're typing a memo or a legal notice or something, you might be used to, you're highlighting your text and then you maybe make it bold and you make it a color and you make it bigger, bigger, bigger until you get it big, and that's your headline or that's your section header. And the better way to do it is to pick from the presets down here at the right, and if you don't like the way they look, you can change the way the presets look. You can change them according to your brand guidelines. And then you just have to hit the button. It's actually faster to work that way because you're not constantly highlighting text and changing it. You're just hitting the header 1 button and it changes that for you. So here's 2 examples side by side. They look actually identical, and that's because the person on the left did it with highlighting it, making it green and bold and bigger. And the one on the right is just using those presets that have been made to look the way you want them. So it's achievable to make them look the same, but to someone listening with a device, they can hear it just like we can see it. Clear language is another of those key elements. Our writing should not be more advanced in grades 7 through 9. And this, I think, is to overcome some language barriers and cognitive barriers. So trying to use clear, plain language whenever possible. So the example on the left is very wordy and not super concise and uses big words. The example on the right is just starting Monday, your trash will be picked up on a new schedule. Closed captioning is for videos, and we should be adding on-screen captions, and this includes for live content as well. It's good to give a user options. You might have to do closed captions and open captions depending on what platform you're putting your video out on. There's a lot of software out there that will provide captions for you automatically, but it's important to go back, read them for accuracy, and edit wherever necessary. Some tips for this is just making sure they're readable, they're in sync with the action on the screen, they're at the bottom preferably, they're short. If you add audio descriptions like doorbell ringing and things like that, that's helpful. The on-screen text, if you have on-screen text, try not to overlap where your captions are going. If you can identify the speaker, that's very helpful. And you should show them for at least a second and try not to scroll them unless it's live, like sporting events. So here's a side-by-side again. It's a video, and on the left there's no captions. On the right there is the closed captioning at the bottom, and then there's on-screen text, and you'll see how how they don't overlap. Forms are another big thing on our website, fillable forms. So this is our actual job application, and when somebody makes a form, they take it into PDF Maker, and then you can turn it fillable, and PDF tries really hard to just go ahead and label all those text fields for you. And what happens is somebody's going to use this form, And the way they use it is they tab from field to field to field. And what's behind this shaded area is what you can't see, but that's the label, and that's what they hear. And so just like the closed captioning, it's important to go in and look at those labels and make sure that they're correct and that they're in a correct tab order so that when the person's tabbing, they're not jumping all over the page. So here's how that looks on the back end. You can see next to name, it actually took a sentence out of that paragraph above it. So that's what's in our employment application right now. The address is right. Several of the fields are correct, but you can see email address says text 1. So somebody doesn't even know that they're supposed to put their email address in that field. So these are the types of things that have to get fixed and put back on our website correctly. So who are you? Are you someone who writes newsletters, sends newsletters? Do you hire people? Are you a graphic designer, a videographer, or a social media manager? Someone who purchases IT, or just a leader in the industry? We all have a part. We all can help. We all can be working together to make this happen. And I am going to give you some homework. So raise your hand if you have a social media page, like a Facebook page or Instagram. And I'm not even talking about the township, just your own personal page. Okay, here's your homework. You're going to make a post, and you're going to add a photo. And when you do that, next to the photo, you can see circled kind of, is a pencil icon. You're going to click the pencil, and it's going to bring up this pop-up window that's white. And you've probably seen that before. It has things like filters and crops and stuff in it. At the bottom is alt text. You're just going to click the alt text button, and you're going to type in your alternate text to describe what that picture is. And it's as simple as that. Hit enter, and you're done. So email writers, who in the room sends emails via Constant Contact or something like that? All right, so this is for you. So when you upload a picture, before you insert it, it brings up this window. At the bottom is alt text. You're going to click on that, and you're just going to type it in there, and then you hit insert, and it will save that for you, and then the person, if they're reading your newsletter, will understand. Yes.
So the alt text, when you're describing the picture and
Yeah.
it's a person,
Yeah.
if you know the person, is it better to say their name?
Mm.
When you know the person for alt text, is it better to say their name or describe what the person looks like? Because all these things are searchable, right?
Yes, yeah. I wonder about that sometimes too. I have done it both ways. I think if you know their name, or if their name is significant to what it is, like if they've won an award or something like that, I would call out their name if you know it. I wouldn't just say man holding a award. So I think it depends, but I would use their name if it's part of the story. Yeah. So that's mostly it. Thank you. I hope that I've inspired you to try some things, and that you know a little more about digital accessibility, and that you have come to maybe an understanding that it's not just for a small percentage of the population. It really benefits everyone, and we even use it all the time. I have some resources for you guys. If anyone's interested in learning more about Americans with Disabilities, that's the first link, ada.gov. W3.org is the World Wide Web Consortium, and they're the ones that came up with these guidelines, the accessibility guidelines. The nvaccess.org is a free downloadable screen reader. However, there are already screen readers on through, what is it, through Microsoft?
Yeah, they're built into Windows.
Built into Windows. So I have found it on my computer. If you go into Windows, you search narrator, you'll find it. Webaim.org is that website I told you about with the contrast, color contrast checker. And StephanieLeary.com has a great blog about why not to use Click Here and why it's a terrible link. And feel free to reach out to me at any time because I am looking to collaborate as we continue this journey trying to make our stuff accessible, because I think it's going to take time and resources, and I am still learning about it because I'm not an expert, but trying to become one. Also, I've made these accessibility checklists, and I've made one for all different kinds of, whether it's Excel you work on or PowerPoint or Outlook, even just sending emails. There's some accessibility kind of tips. So they're in the back corner. Feel free to grab those on your way out, and I will take questions.
If you have a question, I have a microphone. Sure.
So how does this affect our internal facing websites, internal facing documents? Or if there's any, like right now for a board meeting, we may put out a stack of papers. Should we always, at that point, are going to have like a QR code or something like that, so somebody with disabilities would be able to access that document if it's made public in a different way?
So I do think that, and maybe this should go on our website in like an accessibility, there's usually an accessibility policy on the website, and we could say in there something like, you know, if you're searching for a document or you need help with accessibility with a specific document, here's a person to reach out to, and we will make that document accessible. And I do think that's a consideration is employees, because we could have employees with disabilities who need some of these accessibility tools just to do their job too. So I think it's a great thing to loop in IT and HR and all that into this discussion. Yes.
So for seniors, we post this quarterly catalog, which has a lot of pages, a lot of content.
Yes.
I mean, how viable would we have to go through that whole document and do all of this if we wanted to continue to post it on the website?
Yes, so it is possible to make books and catalogs and all of that accessible. It's pretty involved, and I am going to a conference next week to learn more about how to achieve that, but I think it will take some specialized training to do that. So I think we'll have to, that's part of why we need till 2027 is to go through the website and identify, you know, which things we need training on, which things we could put on the website in a different way. So maybe those would just get turned into web pages instead of like a PDF attachment or something. So yeah, there's a lot of, and annual reports are another example. Those are usually PowerPoint. So, you know, so somebody's either going to need PowerPoint training, or we have to turn those into a different way to read them, but still make them available. I don't think we should make things unavailable, but trying to figure out the best way. And just because we always had something on the website in a certain way doesn't mean we have to always keep doing it the same way. We can maybe find a new way. Anything else? Oh, and there are, of course, services that you could pay to take specific documents and make them accessible, but I don't know the cost of those or how many documents we would, you know, for example, yours is quarterly, so that'd be 4 times a year. It's not just a one-time thing, so, yeah. Anything else? All right, well, thank you guys. Oh, my email's not right.
TWP.
Oh, right. Okay, the email's wrong. It's Amy. It's a brand new email, so I got it wrong. bloomfieldtwpmi.org. Thank you, Will. Thank you. All right, well,
Good presentation.
thank you.